Shalom, brothers. Shalom, brothers and sisters. Excuse me. This is part 2 of the real Blackout. Now, when I left off, I was talking about how shameful our people is and how the Mossad said he was going to change our glory into shame. Our glory is self-explanatory. You look around the world, there's not too many Michael Jordans, LeBron James, Floyd Mayweathers, Maya Angelou's, and the list goes on and on. We hit on every level when it comes to success in this world, when it comes to being somebody and being a captivating and motivating figure in this world. We have all of that glory. But right now it seems to me and to the rest of the world that we seem to have all the shame of the world. We seem to be doing the most shameless things, like the TV show Shameless. We doing worse than that. We doing worse than any episode on TV you can see. This is actual real life. This is hitting on all levels. You got children going out into the streets, losing their life at an early age. It's not a game. You got young women out here going out here losing their life to the streets, losing their mind to the streets, selling their soul, selling their body. And these are daughters of Zion. These are sons of the Most High. And we're not acting accordingly. I'm going to read something in Deuteronomy chapter 7, what the Most High said about this people. This is what we should be. The Most High said we are a special people unto him. But we're not being that. We are the leaders of the earth. But when you look at us, you don't see that. You don't see that at all. I'm going to read Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. And I'm going to read. For thou art a holy people unto the Elohim thy God. The Elohim thy Yah have chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. The Elohim did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because you were more in number than any people, for you were fewest of all people, but because the Elohim loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he has sworn unto your fathers, and have the Lord brought you out with a mighty hand and redeem you out of the house of bondmen and from the hand of the Pharaoh king of Egypt. What he's talking about is the covenant we signed in blood with Moses. We signed the covenant, whether black people in America know it or not. We signed the covenant in blood with Moshe. Moshe is a messenger of the Most High. He went up in a pillar of fire and he spoke to the Most High. We had a deal with the Most High and we said we would be obedient. I'm going to find that. Let's go to Exodus. What is it? Exodus 24? I believe it's Exodus 24. We're going to go to that. Exodus 24 and 7. Let's read. Exodus 24 verse 7. So you can hear the covenant we signed in blood. It's serious. The Most High is not playing with us. We signed the covenant in blood and we must follow through with it. When you sign a contract in today's world, there's no way of getting out of it. The white man, the so-called white man, the Gentile, the Grecians, the Romans, they're going to make sure you follow through with that contract. Or you be getting took to their courts. And they're going to get it out you one way or another. Whether they got to garnish your check or whether you won't be able to make $1 for your family. They're going to get their money because you signed the contract. It ain't in blood, but you signed it. It's in ink. So what do you think a contract in blood? Do you think that's not more serious than the contract eat? There's nothing you can file. You can't file bankruptcy with the Most High. There's nothing you can say. We must follow through with the covenant. This is why we're being destroyed in America, because we're trying to do everything but follow the covenant we signed in blood. Our ancestors signed this. You are the children of your ancestors. If your grandmother or grandfather signed a deal and they die and they haven't fulfilled the contract, it's up to you being their grandchildren and their children to fulfill that contract. There's no way out of the contract. I'm going to read. And Moshe took half of the blood and put it in a basin, and half of the blood, and he sprinkled it on the altar. And he took the book of the covenant, and he read in the audience of the people, and said, all that the Elohim have said. And they said, all that the Elohim have said, we will do, and be obedient. This is what our ancestors said. They said they would do, and they will be obedient and obey the Most High. But the children of them are not doing so. And maybe it's part of the curse because the Most High say he will forget his children. Forget their children. But he's bringing us back to the truth. He's bringing us back to the truth. Nothing has gotten us out of this captivity. Not being a Mason, not being a Moor, not being an Islam, not being whatever you want to call it. A 9%er, any of these groups you want to choose. None of these groups have pulled us out of this captivity. All these groups are trying to do is trying to make an alliance within the captivity. And that's not how we're going to break this system. The Most High has set up rules for us to break this system. If all black people in America followed the Most High's rule, we would have already crippled this system. Just off the Shabbat alone, he said no buying or selling. If all black people kept their money in their pocket, Friday night to Saturday night, this whole American system will crumble overnight. That's the power the Most High gave us by following his laws. But no, people going to go out Friday night. They going to go party. They going to put on their best outfit. They going to hit the club. They just got their paycheck. The kids just got let out of school on Friday. They got the system all set up for you to go against the Most High. We got to have the willpower and the understanding to follow the Elohim and not to fear man. But that's a long time coming because a lot of things got to go bad before I believe black people will start paying attention to what the Most High has told us. They're going to put every excuse in front of following the Most High. Oh, white man wrote that book. All these excuses. The book was that book is in English. Well, go get the Torah then. If you got a problem with the English language, go get the Torah. It's the books of Moses wrote in Hebrew. If you could speak Hebrew. If the Most High knew you weren't going to be able to speak Hebrew because he said you were going to forget everything. So he's going to give it to you in the nation, in the language that you can understand. Why would he bring you the scriptures in Hebrew when you stuck in big England in America, speaking English, living like a Gentile? He can't reach you that way. So he came, and his plan is what his plan is, and his plan is coming to fruition because we're slowly but surely waking up. And I know the fake Jews overseas and all over the world are shaking in their boots because the Lion of Judah is woken up. We not crouching down no more like an old lion. We know we a young lion and we coming like we a young lion and we using our youth. Let's move on. Let's go to Proverbs 9 and 10. Because something we don't have is fear for the Most High. When I walk around, when I talk to my brothers and sisters on the streets, they lack something. It's called fear. They don't fear the Most High. They have no fear of repercussions of not following the Most High in his lifetime. They feel like they can go get up there and when the Most High asked them what happened, what did you do? How did you save my sheep? They feel like they could say some type of excuse. Oh, well, God, it was him. He told me this. God's not hearing that. You can't say, well, God, I didn't know. There's not going to be no excuses. God has put it in front of you. We live in a time where if you don't understand what's going on, you don't want to know what's going on. Because there is no avoiding the truth these days. It's on the news. It's on the computers. It's on Instagram. It's on Snapchat. It's on Facebook. It's on Twitter. It's everywhere you look. It's on YouTube. It's everywhere you look. You can't avoid the truth these days. There's not going to be no excuse that you didn't hear the words of the prophets. You're not going to be able to say you didn't hear the words of the prophets. All you're going to be able to say is I didn't believe. Let's read Proverbs 9 verse 10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the holy is understanding. The fear of the Elohim is the beginning of knowledge. How could you even begin to be smart if you don't fear the Elohim? If you don't fear the Elohim, then there's no way you're going to be smart. You can have knowledge of this world, but not knowledge of the heavens, not true knowledge. Yeah, you can know knowledge like if I don't pay my bills, I'm going to get kicked out. If I don't do this, this is going to happen. That's common sense. That's no knowledge. That's common sense. Common sense. What's going on is you got people You got wild lions and you got zoo lions. They have basically broke black people down in America to zoo lions. You got wild dogs and you got house-trained dogs. They have broken you people down to house-trained dogs. You're house-trained in America. You have forgot you were even a dog. They bring you food. They let you outside when you want to. When they ready to let you outside. You zoo lions. You up in there. They bring you steak. You stuck in the cage. People come and look and take pictures. Oh, wow, this is a lion. You're not doing that in the wild. When they come up in the wild trying to get a lion, they got to shoot them with a tranquilizer. Because you're not getting close enough to no wild lions. They said don't feed the animals. You can't change the wild. The lions in the wild are the lions in the wild. They don't need human beings to survive. They're going to survive. But the lions in the zoo, if them human beings don't bring meat to them, they're going to die. They don't know what it means to hunt. They've been institutionalized. And black people, so-called black people, Hebrews, y'all have been institutionalized. You don't know what it means to be out here serving the Most High, going through trials and tribulations, understanding the Most Highs have you chosen and favored to make it through these trials and tribulations. No, you go through trials and tribulations, you instantly crumble. You don't know what to do without the white man and his system and his and all his props and perks of the system to keep you in the system. We wouldn't know what to do if the system crumbled. And that's the sad part. You'd have been called all kind of names. You still won't accept that you a Hebrew. You'd have been called African American, black, colored, all kind of names. Meanwhile, the Caucasians in this land have one name, and that's Americans. They name haven't changed yet. Ain't no such thing as European American, Irish American. No, they're just Americans. But you let them call you African Americans, and the Africans don't have nothing to do with you. It's sad. Let's go to Luke 23 to end this off. People need to understand Christ was not a Christian. He was a Hebrew. So all you Christians, man, just cut it. We're going to go to the real blackout in Luke. Because that was an actual blackout that most people don't even know of. When Yeshua was knelt to the tree next to everybody else, hung to the tree. Let's read that. And I'm going to start at Luke 23, verse 37. We're going to start at verse 37. And saying, if thou be king of the Jews, save thyself. This is what they was telling Yeshua. Oh, you the king of the Jews, you the son of God, save yourself. You should have the power. Mocking the Elohim that he was coming through, mocking the Elohim's son that he was coming through, fulfilling prophecy. He could have took himself down, but it wasn't fulfilled prophecy for him to take himself down. He had to save us today in these times. He had to do this because he had to save us today and the future. If he wouldn't have did that, we wouldn't exist. We were saved by grace by him doing that. And the superscription also was written over him in letters of Greek, Latin, and Hebrew. This is the king of the Jews. They wrote it in 3 languages. So all these people get mad that the Bible was wrote in English. Man, cut it. They put in Greek, Latin, and Hebrew above his name when he was hung, that he is the king of the Jews. But it was really a mockery. It was really a mockery. And one of the malefactors which were hanged railed on him, saying, if thou be Christ, save thyself and us. But the other answered and rebuked him, saying, dost thou fear God, seeing thou art in the same condemnation? You in the same position as him. Who you think you is? And we indeed justly, for we received the due reward of our deeds, but this man have done nothing amiss, innocent. And he said unto Yeshua Elohim, remember me when thou comest into thy kingdom. And Jesus said unto him, verily I say unto you, this day thou shalt be with me in paradise. And when it was about the 6th hour, there was a darkness all over the earth until the 9th hour. And the sun was darkened, and the veil of the temple was rent in the midst. And Jesus cried with a loud voice, and he said, Father, into thy hands I have commended my spirit, having thus said, and he gave up the ghost. This is the real blackout y'all need to be worrying about. It already happened. The blackout already happened on the earth when Christ was hung on that tree. That's what most people don't realize. The blackout already happened, people. I'm Base Jerusalem. This is the Hebrew Life. Shalom, brothers and sisters. Shalom.